Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep, welcome back to Pacific Paradise, and welcome back to this island we are creating. We are on the PC version of the game, the Steam version of the game, and for anyone who's new here, I'm just going to run through the controls real quick. So we are using W to go forward, S to go back, A to go left, D to go right, Q goes down, E goes up, you push and hold the right mouse button and that pans the camera around. That's your basic movement taken care of, but wait, there's more. If we grab this life raft out of the toolbox, we can use R to rotate, T to transform, C to copy or clone, delete deletes an object, and if you have something selected and press F, that focuses. If you have something big selected, it'll move the camera quite far back. That's not everything. Under terrain, you have three brushes. We have raise and lower height, we have set height, and we have smooth height. Smooth height makes things smooth, so if you want a nice soft beach, you crank the amount slider all the way up, you left click and hold, and you just paint around the beach and it evens out the terrain. But all of these brushes inherit their sliders. There's no difference between the brushes and their sliders. So if you have the amount slider cranked all the way up, then you go to raise and lower height, and you have the raise button selected and you left click now, you would have a spike all the way up to the International Space Station. That would be unfortunate because there is no undo in the game. You can't control Z. The best way to fix that is to simply leave, exit to the main menu and come back again. So save often just in case something happens. So this amount slider, we just leave it cranked all the way down, just in case the worst happens. So we are making ourselves a volcano, a caldera, if you will. We have some things going on. We got a bit of a section blasted out. We have a lava tunnel that runs underneath. Bloop. So we've got this lava tunnel going on. We're going to need to make this look pretty, but for the time being, the mechanics are all there. We have a boat in the center because one of the big problems that we have, I mean, this island is enormous, but we don't have any objects for scale. So this boat is just here to give us an idea of scale. That's going to be removed at some point. And to give us an idea of how big this island actually is, we can go to terrain, hit the cog, hit display ocean, and we can see this is about as big as you can get. Yeah, this island is about as big as you can get. This is enormous. It's so big that one of the first pieces that we put in actually just looks down over the abyss. So if we turn the ocean back on and have objects selected so we don't have the blue brush everywhere, we've been working on this forest. It doesn't look like much. We still need to do a lot of work. This island is going to take a long time. A long time. We've built 2 islands so far. So we made a fun little one with seaforts, and then we made a fun little one with seaforts, but no land. So there were 2 very quick map builds, one-day map builds that we've done, because I knew this one was going to take a while. So we've put down a bunch of stuff over here, and we know this island is huge, but what is the importance of objects? Well, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. We can see about, say, a fifth of the way around the island at this point. We can see that there's a big old hillside, and we can see that there's some beach. It doesn't look very big. I mean, the terrain is big, but it doesn't look very big. Visually, as a player, you can just come along here and go, there doesn't seem to be that much going on. We need to add a bunch of objects, and we need to add a bunch of objects in order to break up sight lines. And by breaking up sight lines, suddenly this island, even though it's just a big old donut, becomes far more interesting and far more busy. You can only see, well, not a fifth of the way around the island, you can only see as far away as the next tree, which is super important. Otherwise, if there's anything in the distance, like a rock that turns into a 2D sprite because of LOD, well, you'll see that if you don't have much going on. If you have all of this stuff here, well, you're not going to see that because all of these closer objects are in the way. That's kind of the philosophy that we're working on here. So what we did last time was we took a bunch of trees out of the toolbox. The trees, the cook pines, when they were first put into the game, people complained. It's like, pines in my desert island simulator, what's going on? Cook pines are native to the Pacific. We put some down, put them on the beaches, we've put them on the slopes. It's fine. It means that if you're up here and you're standing around and you're going, there's a tree in the distance, that's on the beach. There's a tree down there that's on the beach. There's a tree over there that's on the beach. There's a tree over there that's on the beach. It still looks like you're on, well, a rocky mountain slope. Kind of like how I imagine summer in the Rockies might be. I've never been there. They're about 4,000 miles away from where I live. But yeah, I imagine a steep slope, lots of rocks, and the hot scent of summer pine. But we can't just leave them on the beach like this. We've got to tidy them up. So what I think we'll do is we'll tidy them up, and then we'll move to a different section of the island and just start something completely different, because we have all of the trees that we can bring out. So all 15 are out. We can't bring any more pines out. So what we're going to do is we are going to grab some rocks, and we're going to paint some terrain around here just so it looks like there's a reason for these to be here. Oh, really? Yep, and we've already done basically, well, we've already done the framework. So we have a design language, and the design language is throw some rocks down, raise some dirt, and that gives a reason for both the tree to be here, a place where the seeds may have landed, and also that it may have had an effect on the environment, something like that. So we'll grab a big rock, and we'll just drop that down into the beach, hit R to rotate it, T to transform. You grab the toggles with the left mouse button, and that's kind of everything you need to know. What we're going to do is hit terrain. We're going to change the size of the raisin lure brush, crank it down so it just fits here. Crank the mount slider up so it's between, well, it's about where the ER is on lower, something like that, and then just tentatively left click. And I'll give you an idea of how fast that's going up in the world. There we go. Just a little bit. It's probably a little too much, actually, in terms of speed. We will then smooth the height. Left click and hold, and that just smooths it all the way down. And what we're looking for is a little raised area. So we've got a little lumpy bump there. And we've inadvertently, or actually deliberately, created a path here between the pine tree and the slope behind it. Really? Yep. The beach still runs through here, so you can still run along there. That's not an issue. And we can always check the width of that with Mr. Door. Grab the door, left click and hold. Yeah, that's fine. The player can run through there, the player can run through there. They're most likely to run on the inside loop rather than the outside loop, but you're not stopping them. It's not impeding the player's progress. So that's cool. And then we'll just grab under trees, a little bit of alocasia, something like that. Just a little bit of greenery. A little bit of greenery. And we haven't put in everything that we need to put in, but what we're doing is we are putting in the plants that can't be removed. So all the trees and objects that can't be demolished, we're just kind of putting them in. Gonna select that again. Sometimes when you have a bunch of objects all stacked up next to each other, what happens is you let go and then it immediately snaps to a different object in the background. Save often, because you're going to need to. And that's a real simple change that we've made, and it looks so much different. It's just one rock and two plants and a bit of dirt. Oh, that tree is no longer just alone on the beach. Yeah, excellent. This tree over here is definitely going to need some work doing to it, so we'll do basically the same thing. Grab ourselves a rock. Whatever we start with is going to inform whatever we end with, but this one is very much sat next to bloop, the abyss. Yeah, alright. Okay, so the player is not likely to want to run this side of it. Some players will. Some players have no fear of the abyss, even though it's a video game, and even though the water is not real. Yeah, some people just don't fear the ocean, which is very strange, very peculiar. So what we're going to do is reterrain paint height. We're going to left click where the grass is on the top, kind of obscure by the blue of the brush, but we're going to then paint outwards. Okay, so now that dirt rises up and it kind of meets the top of the rock, which is nice. And then I'm going to smooth that back just a little bit so it's not completely flat on the top. And then we're just going to hit up some trees. Oh, cocoa bush. It's a bit too big. Oh, actually, it might work, but it is a bit too big. So a little bit of aloe maybe, we can do that. We can also throw in other trees. So we could put a ficus here, a nice ficus tree just like leaning over, but I think I like it a bit more open, a bit more breathing along here. And you might say, what level design experience do you have? Well, apart from the fact that we've been doing this for a while, stuff like this is really coming from background in photography. So looking for sight lines, looking for objects at the edge of the frame that might be awkwardly placed, looking to see how light interacts with the environment that you've built. All of that is all the fundamentals of photography. And it's kind of fun. And also doing things like when you're editing a photograph, if you're using the clone stamp, make sure you don't have any repeated patterns, pattern repeats. So it's all the basic stuff. So what we're doing is putting the serum in, and just putting it naturally so it's pointing up at the sky. Do we need something else? Cerumen. We only really have like 2 structural ground plants, and that's the allocation, that's the cerumen. Which I'd like to see more. I'd like to see a bit more variety. That would be kind of neat. So I'm just going to place this next to that rock. Yeah, that's fine, honestly. It's a little thing. It's a little touch. You just run past that. We could probably put some... If we go to the palm sapling, we could probably put a few palm saplings here. Palm saplings are renewable. So what'll happen if we press R, we can rotate them on their axis. We can't rotate them on their angle, even though in the game, palm trees can grow sideways. But we'll put a couple of these here. And that just means the player can just hit them on the way past, and they will regrow, which is kind of neat. So we've got objects selected. That's all the ones on the beach taken care of. Yeah, oh no, there's one over here, isn't there? Yeah, there is. So we'll have to do the same thing. Anything that's on the sand, we'll deal with. The ones on the hillside, we'll have to come back. I really don't want to spend too much longer here. We have to come back at some point because it's definitely not finished. Not finished. No. So what I'm looking at here, in the background, we have essentially an S-bend. So the player can come in and they can be running along the beach, and they're most likely to go between the pine tree, so around the back of the pine tree, and then through the middle of these two to get further along the beach. So that is back of the pine tree and then through this little slalom here, which probably means you want the player to come out sort of here. So adding something artificial to stop them might be an interesting little, interesting little thing to do. Let's try that. So you just sort of take an S-bend through there. Having big rocks around is not a huge problem for this particular map because, well, it's a volcanic island. We only have a very limited tool set as well. That's one of the curious things. So what I'm actually going to do is see if we can put the back of this into the ground. So grab the toggles, just grab the toggles that seem like they're doing something, and then yeah, drop that into the ground. Neat. Okay, cool. So as a shape, it's kind of a curious shape, but it also invites you to run up to the top of it. Oh, yeah! Invite people to do things with your map design. We're also going to do this. Just put a smaller rock here. Okay. And then we're going to go to terrain, and we're going to raise and lower, make sure this mount slider is down, because the mount slider is going to catch us out. We're on raise, and we're just going to brush in some dirt into the back of this big rock. There we go. Oh, yep. We're not stopping anyone running through the back. We're inviting them to run around the front. See? Oh, okay. Yep. So I'll just do that. Speaking of which, we'll hit lower, and then we'll just push this down through here. Just there. And smooth it a little bit. Mount slider up for the smoothing, because, you know. The interesting thing is you can smooth the sand and it looks beautiful. And then when you save and exit and come back again, it'll look like ass. And the reason for that is on the PC version of the game, the 1.0 update basically broke the island mesh. It just looks like ass, and there's nothing you can do to smooth it. So you do your best, but know that it's going to be very polygonal in the future. Alright, okay, cool, neat. So we're going to go to objects and just do the same thing, throw some plants in here. We don't need to necessarily go full garden center on it, but let's see. A little bit of a naan up there, a little bit of a naan plant. Cool, we'll move it quite close. And just make sure the leaves aren't fully clipping through the tree. And also make sure it's touching the dirt. Yeah, no, there we go. And then something here in the crook of this rock. So terrain objects, we don't have that thing selected. Allocation 1. I think so, yeah. So probably wouldn't be growing next to each other in real life. I think the palm trees have acidic needles that they drop. Although pine and palm, they begin with a P. And I keep getting them mixed up in my head. Especially when you're not really thinking about the words and you're thinking about what to do with this thing here. Jam it into the terrain. There we go. Yeah, so pine trees quite often have acidic needles, which means the soil beneath them is acidic. And it's not good for other plants. So there we go. Instead of just being jammed into the beach, this now has a little collection of plants and rocks around it. It just makes it look a little bit more interesting, and you can, well, choose to go left or right around here. Cool, excellent. Very, very cool. But wait, if you go to the left, it feels a little cold because of the ocean. Yeah, it does. And the right feels a little snug, but a little narrow because of, well, the big-ass cliff that we've got. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. How do we make this a little bit more warm and a little bit more inviting as a pathway? That, detective, is the right question. So we'll throw in these shoreline rocks, shoreline rock 2, not shoreline rock 1. Shoreline rock 1, I don't know if it's still got the problem. It's a nice, huge, slabby bit of rock. When you let go, that's it. That's where it is for life. Because if you click off of it, you can never click back on it. It's got a weird hitbox, or at least it used to. So much so that I don't ever want to really risk putting one down again. So this can go here. We've got to resist the temptation to put too many shoreline rocks around the outside, because if a player's coming in on a raft, they don't really want to be bumping into these. So what we need to do is find a nice position for this, and I think sort of here-ish. And then what we'll do is we will go ahead and throw some palm trees in. So we go to trees and find the palms. So we've got the palms 1 through 4. It's one of the big ones. So we'll put it down a little bit into the sand. Hit R, give it a rotate. I can see the shadow just spinning around, but it just means that you're not having, when you pull another palm tree out, you're not having all the tops pointing the same direction, because the tops are exactly the same. They're identical. So T, drop it down, R, give it a rotate, you know, and suddenly, instead of being cold and uninviting, this is a little like a hot path. It's a hot sandy path, and that bit now is well, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. Well, if you say something enough, then people believe it. We are also going to grab some palm saplings since we're here, so we'll put them down. I'll T and drop it down at the beach by a few pixels. Won't do anything with that one. Terrain objects. Okay, cool. It's a nice little pathway, huh? Where before it was just a tree stuck into the sand. Now it's something way more interesting. And we haven't really done anything. We haven't added anything new structurally. We've just added the rocks around the bases of the trees. And that just adds way more interest to the beach. And also blocks your line of sight. So if anything's going crazy ahead in terms of LOD, then yeah, you don't see it. Cool, excellent. So we've got a forest going on, and it's looking pretty neat. We've got the building up at the top, which, I mean, it's a boat. It's a boat. It's a boat. There's a whole ass boat under there. We've got this, and then we've got the entranceway. What I want to be the entranceway over here. So I want this to look like it has been blasted out. There's been some volcanic event sometime in the past, and this has been blasted out. So we have a bunch of cliff pieces here, and we've got 2 layers. If we go into the terrain, can we do that? Yeah, we can. There we go. We can see exactly what's going on. So let's see. Let's have objects selected so we don't get that blue brush. So what we've got is cliff pieces over the top, and then if we go down a bit more, we've got cliff pieces underneath, and then we've got that tunnel that goes from the caldera all the way out to the ocean. Now, we are definitely going to need to do something about that, but it means the player can't get into this area here. They're not going to fall in there, they're not going to get stuck. They can swim underneath, and the bit on the top really just stops the player from falling into the gap. We have to have cliff pieces here because we can't make tunnels in the terrain. An oversight on the developer's part. I don't think they were thinking about people making islands this size. So we need to do something with this. This needs to have something done with it. We can't pull dirt over the top. These are essentially vertical cliff walls. So we're going to need to do something with this. And I think what we can do, we have our little research station over here. We've already started a language with the metal walkways, so I think we need to invite the player to come inside the caldera. We can do that by doing exactly what we've done before, throwing a bunch of rocks down and throwing a metal walkway. We've done that on Dizzy's Return, and it's a very effective way of making a path. So what we'll do is we will grab structures, and we will scroll up and down until we find Seafort Bridge. I believe they're not infinite. You have a limited number of these, so use sparingly. Can't remember what it is, but it's not an infinite number. But these are pretty long. I mean, these are literally there to join the sea forts together, and I'm pretty glad. I'm very glad they didn't remove these from the game. We've got Seafort Bridge, and we've got Seafort Bridge Broken. That gives us 2 very different options for doing this. The Seafort Bridge Broken actually has slightly different texture. This is just more of a plain walkway. This one has metal on it. Interesting. Yeah, but the broken bit means that if you want a shorter walkway, you can get that. So I'm going to move that over. I'm going to move you out of the way, and we're just going to use the toggles to drag it and move it. Oh, yep. So what we're going to do is put this in such a position where we've got the start of a walkway, and then we're just going to try and hide this bit down the bottom. Oh, try is the operative word. So let's see, how can we do this? How do we do this? That's an excellent question. We are going to move the camera left. So you move the camera left and right so you can see exactly which direction these toggles are facing, because sometimes it's very difficult to see. We're going to need to hide this, which means we could throw cliff pieces over it. That's a thing that you can do. So objects, if we go up to rocks, we've got cliffs. I think cliff 5, cliff 3, one of these is interesting. Yeah, cliff 3 might work. So if we put that down, we want to hide the whole thing, essentially. Let's rotate it. It's got a nice smooth side to it, this side here, which is useful for us. So we'll put that there. Okay, and that's mostly hidden. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Which means what we can now do is go to terrain. The amount slider is cranked. I'm going to slide that all the way down, then I'm going to hit raise and lower, then I'm going to hit raise, and then I'm going to move it slightly off the stop, remembering that it could be our folly, it could be our complete undoing. I'm going to raise this up. I'm trying not gonna brush into where the tunnel is. Might need to reevaluate our excavations at some point in the future. But I'm just gonna see if we can make a little pathway here. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna raise it up, and then I'm gonna hit lower, raising and lowering essentially. What we can. You are going to be in the way, aren't you? Yep. And let's hit objects. Let's hit that. Let's just delete it. Goodbye. Good. Excellent. Yeah, what we need is a nice pathway here. Because it's on the side of a slope, we have a little bit of an issue. And the issue is that we can use set height, read terrain paint height from here, and then just kind of make ourselves a path. And then if we do it in steps and stages, we can literally cut in a path into the side of the mountain. Read terrain paint height from down here. See? It's the easy way of doing this. Read terrain paint height from down here. And we're just slowly making ourselves a path. Okay, cool. It's a nice little path. It's basically invisible because, well, it's just the way things are. Let's go to objects. Let's move this slightly. Is the bottom of it? Oh yeah, that's fully hidden. Nice. Excellent. Good. Good. We are going to terrain objects so we don't have that selected. And then we are going to go and find the small rocks. Small rock 1, you are going to be our friend, so I'm going to use you, spin you over, and then T to transform. Then we're going to use small rock 1 as a little fence post. Then we're going to hit C to copy. I'm going to move you back, but because these two are now looking identical, we're going to hit R to rotate. There you go. So we've got our fence posts, and we're probably going to do the same thing at the top as well. Oh, right, okay, yeah, makes sense. Yep. It's just to mark an area that we really want the player to be interested in. So move you a little further up to here. Hit R to rotate. Rotate it on its 180 on its axis. C to copy. T to transform. And we've done this before. It's a neat little way of just pointing out where the entrance is. Cool, excellent. Oh, but this was something. Yeah. Calm down. That's fine. We'll grab big rock 1, and then we'll just put that in underneath. We need a flat side to this, ideally. There's the flat side. So we can put that in. Underneath gives us a bit of different texture. C to copy, and we'll do the same thing. Drop it down. And then bring it up. And then a little rotate. Not you. You. Okay, cool. Cool. And then we could probably make sure we've got the right thing selected. T to transform, and then drop that in here. Right, so I pressed F accidentally, but that focuses, so that's fine. Neat. That's kind of neat. So what we'll do is we'll just grab a big rock, R to rotate, and T transform. Remembering that this is going to have grass sprites and stuff all over it, so it's not going to be ideal, not optimal. But we can throw some big rocks around here. Wondering if we want. Here we are. So it's just something to denote that there is a path there, and also it's a different color to everything else. It's another big rock. There we go. I like that. That's fine. It's beautiful. Right. You are slightly awkward though. I'm entirely sure we can do with you, apart from put you in such a position that, yeah, you're not. Rotate you around a little bit. I like it that way. That's fine. Good, 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 good. Terrain objects, nothing selected, go down, grab small rock 1, so it's the little V. And yeah, that'll do. That'll do, that'll do. So, where do we do a path? That's not a thing. I mean, it is, but it doesn't exist. Look at this. There's nothing here. I gotcha. Don't worry about it. What we're going to need is small rock 1. So terrain objects, small rock 1. And we are going to grab you. And make you into some steps. So transform. Then we're going to C to copy. And move you back. And then I'm going to move you up. And just tuck you in there. Now, do I need to make another one? Probably not, but we'll see what it looks like, and if it doesn't look good, we'll get rid of it. It looks fine. Okay, 3 steps. Slightly annoying to the player because they have to jump up there, but whatever. Whatever. We'll copy that as well. Bring that up through terrain. Ah. Okay. Yeah. And then copy again. Drop that down. So we've got more steps. This little rock it does so much work. So much work. And then C to copy. Move this up. And then scoot it back. Alright. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Cool. Excellent. We could have 1 step there, but we're not going to. We're going to have at least 2. Not necessary, because I think the player could just simply run up there, but just in terms of design language, we now got 3 steps, 2 steps, 2 steps. And then we've got this up here, which we are now wanting the player to go up, so they can go up here. And this won't be their first view of the Caldera. Let's be honest, they'll just run over any of these slopes, but this just makes it look a little bit more official. Good, excellent. We're just going to hit terrain. We're going to hit this smoothing tool. I'm just going to smooth this edge off a little bit. Probably actually pull it into there. Let's do that. So set height, click on that. Oh, retrain paint height. There we go. It's like, something's not right. Something's very not right. Okay, we'll just brush this dirt into this rock. That's better. That's better. That's what we're missing. Okay, yeah, that feels a bit better. And then smooth it off a little bit. Just a little bit. Done. Cool. Good. Well, this looks like a jolly old mess, but it's not. It's not. We're going to dress this with trees and other bits and pieces, plants and trees. So that's going to make that look a little bit better. So we've started. You can see the LED working. Further out we go, everything just vanishes, which is why we need to block sight lines. Yeah, so we've started the pathway up into the Caldera. That's fine. We also have just polished the trees on the beach just a little bit. I mean, small changes, big effect. I like that. And then we've added a few trees here. Yeah, I'm liking this so far. So far, this is looking pretty good. But time is getting on, so I'm going to leave it here for the time being. If you like this, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. If you want notifications, dingle the bingle. If you don't want notifications, don't click the bell. And I tell you what, I'll catch you next time.